just went back to
check.
he just went back to South Africa a couple weeks ago to go help his family.
Always wanted to go out there.
Yeah, it's a mess out there.
Cape Town, Johannesburg.
That was a fun noise. That was me scooting this over. I can't do it again. There it goes. Can I get a little more in my headset? I can barely. There we go. Now I can hear myself. Yeah.
And me too. Just a squash. Oh, there we go.
Squash. Just a scunch.
Just a smidgen.
Just a sconce.
Andrew.
Yeah.
You had a big week, man. You hung out with the national commander and the state commander.
Yeah, I got to dive with Fritz Mihalchek, the commander in chief. We did 2 dives, hour underwater each. Longest I've ever been underwater. My breath control is getting a lot better. Saw Brian Walker, had a party on Wednesday, and now I'm going to Jackal tonight. So it's a busy week.
Yeah. It's always a busy week for you.
Always.
That's true.
So today we're here with Gabe Brown.
Hey, Gabriel.
How you doing, brother?
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
So what we're going to do here is we're just going to get your background on you're in the Marine Corps and the Army.
Yeah. I was in 1-8 in the Marine Corps and 124. And then I was a contractor in Afghanistan for a while, and then came back, got a wild hair, and switched over to the Army, and did funeral honors my last 3 years. I stayed in the infantry, but I ended up on funeral honors the last 3 years that I was in, and then got out. And yeah, I keep on romanticizing it and shit, and so I think I miss it. And then I go back in. I'm like, shit, this is why I got out. and then I get out and I go back in. It's like Stockholm syndrome. It's terrible. But now I have a food truck and a home inspection business, and I tried to get away from the lifestyle, and it sucks you right back in. So
Right, I hear you.
And then you got Andrew over here sucking me into the VFW and everything. I told him, I was like, I do not want to be a part of this, and now I'm a damn officer.
Now you're an officer, man. You're welcome for my service.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's the background.
I think it's good that you're getting involved with the VFW because for one, it helps the younger guys that are coming through, and I think it eventually will start helping you also.
Yeah, I think I mean, everybody has their preconceived notion about the VFW, I feel like, and just from their own experiences, if not from their own experiences, from like their grandfather's experiences, you know. Right. And I always joke that it's a strip club without the pole. Yeah, I mean, it's just a smoke-filled, dark, dingy room.
One of our other members says the same exact thing.
Well, and that's kind of the perception that I had on it. And what sucked me back into it was, Andrew telling me that, now listen, we're going to try and do things different. Like this is going to be a brand new post with a completely different ideology behind it. I mean, not just the helping veterans aspect of it, but it's not going to be just a social club to sit around and gather and drink and bullshit. It's going to be focused on guys that are of our generation, and appeal to guys that are of our generation, which is a big, big thing, because you go to a lot of these VFWs and you get a lot of these old heads, and they don't want to move on anything. Nope. Nothing. They want to play bingo and, have the raffles and right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And cornhole, which
cornhole could go either way. Right. Beer pong, that's fine. Yeah. But if you're going to appeal to the younger generation, to prevent your organization from dying, because that's exactly what's happening to the VFW and a lot of social organizations, then you have to appeal to those guys, and then you got to let them carry the torch a little bit. And I think a lot of these VFWs struggle with passing that torch. You know what I mean?
My first group I became involved with when I got out of the Navy was the American Legion. And I absolutely love the American Legion. I think I like the American Legion as much as he loves the VFW, only because that was the first group that brought me in and mentored me. I went through the chairs, the junior vice, senior vice, and commander, and I pretty much held every seat at the American Legion. But those people, they're mostly like World War II and Vietnam guys in there. I was the youngest by far, by at least 20 years. And those guys did not like change at all.
No.
I would bring something up. Even when I was the commander, man, they fought me tooth and nail on stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, I could definitely see how that, and like I said, it's not just the American Legion or the VFW. It's all of these social organizations. You know, whether it's Freemasons or the Lions Club or any of these things. You're right. They're all suffering from the same problem. And really, what did it? I've actually sat down and I thought a lot about this. Is it's social media, man. Because back in the day, when you got out of the service, you might run into a dude that you served with in an airport 10 years down the road or something like that, you know? So if you wanted to be around like-minded people again, at least to some degree, then the VFW or the American Legion is where you found that, you know? And now every dude that I served with is on my Facebook or my Instagram. You know what I mean? So I have no need to be around these other guys, you know, who I don't actually know, who just have a similar experience. I have the guys that I actually had my experience with at the touch of my fingers. And I think that the VFW, at least, you know, the younger posts, ones that are starting up like this, are definitely trying to figure out how to they're trying to figure out how to use that to their advantage versus letting it be the knife that kills them. You know what I mean? And
well, the big change is the social media. Like,
Commander
in Chief, I mean, he is all about everything electronic. OMS, the online membership system.
I mean, you got guys showing up to meetings, you know, digitally. You know what I mean?
Using Zoom, which has now been introduced into our bylaws.
Right, which is fantastic because I mean, you have to keep up. If you don't, then it's going to die.
It's going to die.
And it's very interesting to me to see the organization start to pivot. I hope that they're not turning too late. But I feel like maybe it's just in time to keep them relevant because it is a good organization that has a lot of great benefits that come attached to it.
Too many to mention
right now. Yeah. I mean, they've got brochures. You can go online and check it out. But I do think it is a great organization. I think that it's a resource that most young guys, it's nowhere even in the forefront of their mind when they get out. Yeah. I mean, when they get out, all they want to do is grow their beard and grow their hair. You know what I mean? They need to chill for a while and then they have to navigate life for the first time in their adult life outside of the bubble that is the military. And they have no fucking clue how to do that. Thing is, those guys in the VFW and the American Legion, they've already done that. Like they've been down that road. They know how to do that. They can get you jobs. They can help you write resumes. They can introduce you to this wonderful thing called the VA disability program. Yeah. I mean, it's which I didn't even know anything about when I got out, you know,
I love it. Pays my mortgage.
Right. It took a DAV guy who spotted me at a fair. And he like called me over. He's like, "How long were you in?" I was like, "First of all, Gandalf, how do you know that?" You know what I mean? He's like, "You can just tell sometimes by the way somebody walks. Also, you have a giant Marine Corps lanyard hanging from your keys." I was like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense."
Moto.
But he was like, "You know, what are you getting from the VA?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about, man. I got all 10 fingers and all 10 toes." He's like, No. He's like, "Listen, some kid who fired his stapler at the cyclic rate is going to get a check for the rest of his life. What do you got? So who's the dumbass?" And I was like, "Oh shit, man, I never thought of it that way." So just little things like that, these veteran organizations that they can bring to the younger generation of veterans who may not even know that there's anything even close to that available to them. That's just scraping the surface of the resources that you have at your disposal as a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, none of us think about that when we get out. We're just focused on getting out.
Right. Dude, I'm finding out new stuff every day. Like when I got out, I didn't know anything.
Sure,
and I had to find out all this stuff on my own. Mm-hmm. And now I get to actually tell my story and help people get their benefits. And you already have yours. Are you getting benefits, Commander?
No.
What? Let me tell you about this fantastic thing.
It's called the VA. It's called the CMP exam.
Yeah, my wife gets on about that all the time also. So I feel like, because I was on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
Sure.
I didn't see what the hell you guys saw. So I figure I'll just leave that shit for you guys.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, though. Like I said, there's going to be some kid who fired his staple at the cyclic rate. He's getting a check for the rest of his life. Right. At the bare minimum, dude, like, what is 10% paying out?
It's 10%.
What is that paying?
10% is like $150.
Yeah, almost 200. Like that's beer money.
If you get 0%, you can still use the VA for free medical.
Right. So
even at 0%, you're not getting any money, but you're able to go into the VA. Just like I went to the emergency room 2 weeks ago at 4:00 in the morning.
Right. Which you can't do that now, by the way.
And now you can't do that.
Yeah, because they changed their hours.
Yeah, they changed it from 8 to 8.
VA.
ER is 8 to 8, by the way.
Yeah, at the emergency room VA.
People don't get sick in the middle of the night.
They say that you can go all the way to...
We've got to suck it up and wait until 8 o'clock.
Or you can drive all the way to the Nashville campus. That's what the letter said. But no, you absolutely should pursue those benefits because they're there for you. Yeah. I mean, it's not wartime related. You know what I mean? It's the military broke you in some capacity, which I'm sure they did. And even if it's just, at a 10% level, like I said, that's beer money for the rest of your life.
And it gets worse over the years. And the VA will see that. And they'll be like,
I think there is a big
maybe we need
stigma.
to come back.
Well, there is a big stigma, I think, to where a lot of guys feel like, I'm exploiting a system, or,
Right.
Exactly. I feel like, you kind of feel dirty at first, and you do.
I did.
You definitely do.
Not anymore.
Right.
I definitely don't feel dirty anymore.
Until you see some dude getting it for jack shit, who's done literally nothing.
And he's getting 100% TNP unemployable.
Right.
I
literally know a guy who was in the Army for less than a year. And he got out because he cried hazing. He was a Rakkasan. Right?
Sounds like he's a what?
He showed up to Rakkasans, and the Rakkasans.
What's his name? No, you're not going to give his name.
I'm not going to say his name.
Pussy.
But he shows up to the Rakkasans. Rakkasans don't play, man. Like they hold a different standard. You know what I mean?
The Rakkasans are crazy.
So
they're like Marines in the Army.
Shows up as a broke dick. You know what I mean? And of course, what happens? Like, think about what happens in the fleet when you show up that way, like fresh out of boot camp. Like, all right, we're either going to destroy you.
Oh, they did. They did.
And once we do destroy you, if you don't fix yourself, we're just going to make you the company clerk, which is exactly what happened to him. And then he cried.
That's so funny.
He cried
That's
hazing,
hilarious.
and he went to see the wizard and cried hazing, and got out after being in the Army for less than a year, and now he gets 100%. So that jackass is getting $3,500 a month for the rest of his life for nothing, for absolutely nothing. So maybe go down there and file a claim, man.
Now, guaranteed, I'm batshit crazy, and I'm getting 100%. But I'm nuts. My hyperactivity is all over the place. I'm late everywhere, especially.
Yeah, you are, you piece of shit.
Just you know what, Guzman, just NJP me.
Guzman, God, there's a name.
That was my first sergeant.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for that, NJP, sir. It was very nice.
I've got 3 of them. I feel you. But no, I hear guys like you say things like that, and I'm like, man, that was exactly where I was at with it. But it's. Like I said, my dad's in the same way. He was in the Navy. He was in the Navy back in the 80s.
Hoorah!
And so
that's what I was in.
Yeah, so he was on the Orion and the Nashville, and he, he's like, man, I was in peacetime. You know what I mean? I was like, how are your ears, man? Do you sleep with the fan on? And he's like, well, yeah. I was like, why? He's like, because the ringing. I'm like, yeah, it's tinnitus, dude. That's 10%, and it's claimable.
Right.
Do you have a ringing?
Turns out ships are loud.
I do 24/7.
There you go.
Yeah,
you got tinnitus.
That's
you
10%.
have to have tinnitus.
And here's the fun thing about tinnitus: they can't disprove it, which means it's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, you just go into that booth and just.
No, you don't even got to go into the booth, man. That's for hearing loss.
Oh, they did for me.
Oh, no, I didn't have to do anything like that. For hearing loss, I had to do that. And I went in and I pushed the button systematically. This is when I was still in because I was afraid they were going to kick me out. So I just sat there and clicked the button every 3 seconds. And they finally threw the door open. They're like, hey, quit that shit. We figured that out. You can't do that anymore. I was like, damn it. Because, that's your biggest, you're like, damn, I don't want to get kicked out. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that I'm non-deployable or anything while I'm in.
Yeah.
It was when I was contracting, actually. You had to go through the same crap. So I was able to talk to the doc. I was like, listen, man, you can make the numbers close, but I need you to make them passable. You know what I mean? Like, I need this job.
Here's $50. Here you go.
Right. So, but yeah, no, tinnitus, they can't even, they can't prove or disprove that. And it turns out ships are loud. Engine bays are loud. Hangar bays are loud.
Well decks are loud.
Yeah, well decks are loud. Everything. The forecastle is loud, for Christ's sake. The fan deck, whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
We're getting all Navy up in
I know, man.
It's not hard, though, to claim that.
Yeah, I had an office job, right? So my office is right under the, basically right where the planes landed. I was on a carrier.
Oh, yeah,
First time a freaking plane landed while I was in my office, I about shit my pants.
Yeah,
man.
man.
That was so
It's like trying to sleep when Harriers are landing. That's an impossibility. Right? It's just loud.
Yeah.
Now, being on ship is a different world, man. That's
22nd Mew.
Man, I was on the 24th, and I was on the USS Iwo Jima. And my dad was, in the Navy. He gave me pointers. He's like, listen, you want to pick a rack that's oriented a certain way so that when the ship rocks, it's like rocking you, it's not tossing you. He's like, make sure you don't get the very bottom rack, you get the one right above that. Because if you fall out of your rack, it's not that far. But if the dude above you throws up from drinking too much, it's not going to splash on you. Things like that. And he's like, it is solid advice.
Really good advice.
And the one he told me is like, listen, if the captain wants to fart, they'll shut off the damn smoking lamp. Like for anything, they'll put that son of a bitch out. So if you want to smoke and the smoking lamp is out, and he's like, get in good with the engineers down in the engine room. He's like, you can go down there and smoke all you want. And so that's exactly what I did. And one
No
day,
way.
I'm going down here because the smoking lamp's out, and I'm going down here to smoke like I usually do. And I go down there, and they've got this tool rack that runs like the length of the ship so they can like send tools to and from quickly. And I get down there, and they've got this kid hanging from the tool rack upside down. He's duct taped, and they are round robining this kid from station to station and just beating the freaking brakes off of him. And I'm like, holy shit. And they're like, you didn't see shit. And I was like, I didn't see nothing, dude. I'm just here to smoke a cigarette. So I was able to make a phone call home not long after that. I called my dad. I was like, dude, what the hell was going on? He's like, hard to say, man. Could have been his birthday, or he might have been a piece of shit.
Jesus.
Man, the Navy is odd, man.
Yeah, you guys are odd duck. I never saw that much hazing when I was on ship, but I don't just believe it. I kind of believe that.
Yeah, just go down to the bowels of the ship. Apparently, that's where all the good stuff in the Navy happens.
I went to the laundry. That was the furthest I went on the USS Kearsarge. I didn't go in the engine room. I didn't even know where the fuck it was.
Oh, I explored all kinds of shit on there. Dude, like one time, my gunny was like, hey, we need this stuff printed off. Go find the lithographers. It took me like 2 hours to find these guys. Lithographers.
Ooh, look at that SAT word.
Yeah. So I go in there, and I finally find them. Like I said, it took me like 2 hours to find these guys. And the very first question they asked me was, how did you find us? And I was like, what
it's on bulkhead 7 and
it was terrible.
21C. I'm like, I don't know how you guys.
Dude, you walk in.
How you memorize that
dude,
shit?
You walk in and they were sitting on the couch playing an Xbox. And I'm like, did they build the ship around the couch? Like, how did you get that in here? You know what I mean? I was like, dude, I joined the wrong
World
branch.
of Warcraft.
Dude, I should have been a Navy lithographer apparently, because these guys are going around the world and getting paid to do it, and they don't do shit. They don't do anything.
I don't even know what do they do.
Lithographers are like they run like printers and things like that. They print things off like en masse.
The Gutenberg press on the USS Nashville. Yeah. Very nice.
So
what kind of ship was that?
No, I was on the Iwo Jima, but we were floating with the Nashville. The Nashville is it's got a little helo deck on the back of it. What are those? It's got the little helicopter pad on the back, and then it's just a long ship, just a square on the back with a helicopter pad. Might be a subtender.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, there's a lot of them that have that on the back.
Is there?
Yeah.
I don't know. You could look it up. I think they decommissioned it though.
Yeah, I was a WASP. I was on a WASP class ship. I think the Iwo Jima was a WASP.
Yeah, it's an LHD.
Right?
Yeah, it's an LHD class. Mine was 7, LHD 7.
LHD 7.
Yeah, we had an acronym made up for it. USS Iwo Jima LHD 7.
You get a NUC for that deployment, sir?
Yeah, I did.
Naval unit citation
or accommodation or whatever it is. Yeah.
Did you cross the equator?
Yeah, so we did the whole polywog thing, and apparently it's a really big deal to the Navy.
It's huge.
You get a little card and all that.
I have my card. I
have no idea where it is. Like the Navy's like sacrilege. Like, how do you not know where it is? I'm like, I don't know, man.
Stupid polywog, you.
But no, we had an acronym for it. It's like USS Iwo Jima LHD 7s. Like Uncle Sam says, I want one jammed in my ass, long, hard, deep, 7 inches. It's like, that's the USS Iwo Jima.
Hey, at least we were the USS Queer Barge. Okay,
that's good. And then we had the Trashville with us, or the Crashville, because they'd run that ship into all kinds of shit. And I think they did it on purpose, because then they'd have to go into port while the rest of us went to some garbage location.
Malta,
they were hemmed up in
Dubai.
Not Dubai. Where were they at? Cyprus.
Very nice.
They stayed hung up in Cyprus for like 3 weeks. These turds.
Those turds. Like, I hear Cyprus is really nice too.
It stinks. It's very smelly.
Smelly?
Yeah, man. It's very smelly.
I'm not going. Katrina, we're not going there.
It's a pretty place, though, but the whole place is run by the Russian mob, dude. Like, it is all the Russian mob. It's crazy.
I saw a lot of those guys in Dubai.
Yeah.
Ooh, they were like fat, bald, and they had
nice
the
suits.
hottest women right next to him.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And he's got the Russian like daggers and tattoos, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
I don't want to mess with
those
him.
tattoos that tell a story.
Oh
and
yeah,
all that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm really into the Equalizer 1 and 2.
I haven't watched them. You told me to watch them.
Is awesome. You have to watch that movie.
I think you were on. This is when. It was the last podcast of mine you were on.
Yeah.
You were like because we were arguing DC and Marvel is what it was.
Yeah, we were talking. Right. Yeah, Denzel, man, he's a fucking badass.
It's hard to beat Denzel, man. I like just about anything with him in it.
Dude, he's a man on fire, right?
Yeah, good movie.
When he's a bodyguard for the little kid.
For the kid, yeah.
That shit's fucking tight.
It's a good movie. I think
sorry, we're do you?
You're gonna have to put an explicit disclaimer on your podcast. I don't know if you guys normally keep it clean, but I am terrible about that. So
there's nothing clean about
I'm
that.
I'm bringing out a lot of swear words because
you're around me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, that's what
every time I see you, it just makes me want to swear.
Dude, that's the way grunts are, man. It's kind of like being in Tennessee. your whole life, and then you go and you're in the military, so you lose your accent, and then you bring your buddy home with you, and the first time you open your mouth, he's like, "What the fuck?" Like, I didn't understand anything you just said. You don't talk like that normally. It's the same concept.
But Commander, do we want to have another discussion to talk about today?
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you guys want to talk about Slamjamistan.
So,
Kabulistan.
Yeah, Kabul. Jesus Christ. What's going on there, man? Like, for the past 3 weeks now, we've been trying to get one of my Terps out of there. I've been trying to get him out of there since 2013, 2014, right around there. And he applied through the SIV program. This guy is an amazing individual. He saved a Marine's life. They got hit by an IED in an ambush, and this Marine was literally being stomped on by the Taliban. And this dude just runs up and just body checks Terry, dude. And like they end up winning. He saved that Marine's life. He got a comment, SIRCOM and all that stuff for it as a Terp. Well, he's a Terp. It's not like you can give him a Bronze Star.
Yeah, SIRCOM. Hey, that's good for them.
Right, no shit. So
I hated my SIRCOM.
He saved a Marine's life. He worked exclusively with Marines. He didn't want to work with the Army or anybody else. He only wanted to work with Marines. And by the time it's all said and done, I think he has somewhere to the tune of 17 years of working with us.
Jesus.
So, yeah, like he'd be close to a retirement if he was in the military.
Yeah.
So he's applied to this program, and he keeps on getting kickback, saying that he's not. How did they word it? They were basically saying that he wasn't showing that he had given enough service and that he was under enough threat, which is a crock of shit. It's an absolute crock of shit. Like, they're literally going door to door and hunting these people down. Right. You know what I mean? So now he's got a 4-year-old daughter. You know what I mean? And shit like that. So we're trying to get him out, and we've been doing a lot of work with. It's called projectdynamo.org, I believe is what it is. I've got it wrote down here. Jen Wilson is the name of the one lady who's heading a lot of it up, and Charlie Reeder is my buddy that I was in Afghanistan with. He's a Marine. He's also working with them. Yeah, projectdynamo.org. That's what it is. And basically, it's they're calling it Digital Dunkirk. It's basically the same idea behind what happened at Dunkirk.
Oh, man.
So you've got a lot of people who are putting their own money into stuff, privately chartering aircraft, and they're privately getting these people out because the government has dropped the ball in such a manner that they literally are welding the gates shut at Hamid Karzai International. Like, they're literally welding the gates shut. Like, they're done. It's all done.
I just saw a Facebook post, like 500 Marines are going that have gotten out. They're going over there right now.
A lot of them are, yeah.
And they're going to try and get people out.
Yeah, so there's a lot of guys who are basically putting together teams, dude, and they're going over there personally, which is dangerous as shit.
Hell yeah.
But they're basically like, look, we can pick up AKs once we get there, and we'll go and get them. Because, like, my buddy was like, dude, if we have to, we'll go get them ourselves. He's like, I've got a good chunk of money set aside, and we'll go do it ourselves. I was like, what are we going to do? Go to Habib's Helo Rentals and rent a Helo? And he's like, yeah, kind of.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
It's like Jack Ryan in Clear and Present Danger. Like, yeah, this is the CIA. We own this chopper right now.
Hey, I'm going to play a clip. I want to get you guys perspective.
That due to the negligence of this administration, the Taliban now has access to over $85 billion worth of American military equipment. That includes 75,000 vehicles, over 200 airplanes and helicopters, over 600,000 small arms and light weapons. The Taliban now has more Black Hawk helicopters than 85% of the countries in the world. Wow. But they don't just have weapons. They also have night vision goggles, body armor, medical supplies,
biometrics,
and unfathomable to me and so many others is that the Taliban now has biometric devices, which have the fingerprints, eye scans, and the biographical information of the Afghans who helped us over the last 20 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so that's 100% true. And then to add insult to injury, they also provided the Taliban with a no bullshit list of American nationals and of Terps who are eligible for SI. Basically, if you're eligible to get out, they're like, hey, here's a list of guys that you should let through your checkpoints. And they handed that to the damn Taliban. Because, I mean, surely the Taliban's going to keep their word and be like, oh, I see you've been fighting us for 20 years and your name's on this list, so you're a traitor to us.
And
come on through, bud. We'll let you escape safely.
That's horrible, man.
So the Taliban now has
that was a state representative out of Indiana, so that wasn't no Joe Schmo on YouTube.
Those are hard numbers. They've been going around for a couple of days now. It's literally like $85 billion worth of our stuff. They are
just
more
left
well
it there and
equipped.
pulled out. That's crazy.
They're more well equipped now than most developed countries' armies are.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking about like there are pictures of these guys running around with straight up 240 Limas.
240 Limas.
Yeah, 240 Limas, dude. Not even Bravos or Golfs. 240 Limas, ACOGs, M4s, straight up 14s, PVS 14s, the works. So like you literally took the Taliban, who won this war not because they had shitty rifles, but despite their shitty rifles, and now you gave them everything they need to be a near peer. Yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time, and they've got like I said, Black Hawk helicopters. They have fixed wing aircraft.
I really hope we didn't teach these people.
You know, we did.
Yeah,
they were the A&A a month ago. Now they're going to be the guys who are, and who trained the A&A? We did. Right. So now they don't just have Stinger missile launchers from the 80s and things like that from the last time that we left a bunch of shit to them. Now they have near peer capability, which is a huge problem for anybody on the ground trying to do anything. It's not like, okay, let's fly a bunch of helos in and pull these guys out that we need to pull out. Well, that would be great, except for now they have NVGs. Now they have Carl Gustavs. Now they have small rocket launchers.
Ooh, Carl Gustav. You were talking about that.
Yeah, it's the Army's version.
Yeah.
It's the Army's shoulder-fired rocket launcher.
Oh, the small.
It's their version of a small, more or less. It's different than the small, but it's the same.
I remember when we talked about that.
So now that's in the hands of the Taliban. So it's not like it's as easy as, let's just, get a bunch of helos and go and pull these guys out. I mean, they're a bunch of cavemen. What are they going to do? Shoot AKs at us? RPGs? No. Now they're going to be firing our shit at us,
Yeah.
And then there's no mention of how much ammo they left them sitting on, which is an ungodly amount of ammo. And so you have, can you imagine, like, you have these people that we've told for 20 years, hey, if you just stick with us and work with us, we'll make sure that when the time comes, we'll pull you out and you'll be safe. You take care of us, we'll take care of you. And now you literally have people falling out of the wheel wells of aircraft and smacking the tarmac. You know what I mean?
Trying to get home.
And then you have an administration that's touting this as some sort of success.
right.
Like it's a victory of some sort. Like, what do you like? In what world is that a victory? Like, how is that okay?
My mother, I was talking to her about this yesterday, and she's like, "I think they did a great job," and I'm like, I had to bite my tongue because I'm trying to work a better relationship with my mother, but I wanted to scream and slap her in the face. I'm like, Mom, you do not leave before all personnel and
Americans
stuff
there are Americans on the ground.
Then you leave after that stuff is gone.
Right. Or here's a wild thought. Maybe don't give up Bagram Air Base.
Or that too.
And maybe make that your fortified position to do your extract and exfil out of.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And people, they did. The embassy was in Kabul and blah, blah. The embassy folded in less than 24 hours. Yeah. You could have had, because Dum Dum said he didn't want people being heloed off the roof, you could have had them being heloed out of the embassy and flown straight to freaking Bagram Air Base, which would be fortified and is defensible and has multiple airfields on it. You could have done that and had a strategic position from which to do this whole thing the right way. And for whatever reason, the good idea fairy just landed on these people's shoulders, and they're touting it around like it's some great success. It's abhorrent, is what it is.
Horrible.
And it's not just people on the right that are saying this. It's everybody. They have found a way to unify people. I'll give it to the Biden administration. They have figured out how to unify Americans, and that's all that we are unified, and that you have completely botched this, and the blood is on your hands because of it. 13 dudes gone. I say 13 dudes. There was 12.
Marines.
It was 11 Marines.
Yeah.
11 Marines, a Navy corpsman.
Navy corpsman and some Army.
An Army cat. That's right. And 2 of them were females. 2 of the Marines were females.
My Facebook is flooded.
Oh yeah.
I'm appalled. I'm appalled. I can't even look at my Facebook without.
We haven't had, that is the most deadly day in Afghan history as far as our troops have had in over a decade. In over a decade, we have not lost that many troops in a single day.
No.
We haven't had a combat casualty since March of 2020.
I mean, in 2006, we lost 4 guys in one day. And
Right.
That was pretty harsh for us.
Right, sure. I understand that. I'm just saying that we got it to the point where we weren't taking casualties on a level like we once were. You know what I mean? And then in one day we lose 13. You know, so and then to hear these people literally say, well, you know, we're talking with the Taliban. Like, I literally heard a guy yesterday, it was a general, some such, literally said that they were talking to the Taliban to try and coordinate how they were going to protect us with their security checkpoints. I was like, whoa, I had to rewind. I was like, play that back. How the Taliban is going to protect us. That is patently crazy.
Yep.
It's
the head of the
insane.
CIA was over there talking with the Taliban face to face.
Well,
I didn't know that.
I could see that just because those spooks are always talking to those weirdos, but I want to see Joe Biden go over there and talk to him.
Yeah. I think he needs to go over and talk to him.
I want to see, you know, I see pictures of planes leaving with empty seats, and that is crazy.
Yeah.
There was an aircraft that had 300 seats on it. There were 50 people on it. 50 people on it. And because every time they'd go to open the gates, they'd get bum rushed by 40,000 Afghanis. You know what I mean? And so, like, this guy that I've been trying to help get out, you know, we're trying to talk to him, coordinate with him, and he's going to the gate. We got him through the gate once. Had had some badass Royal Marines that we were coordinating with on the ground, and they went and got him through the gates and got him into the airport. Only for the U.S. Marines, the guys that he was helping and fighting with for 17 years, turned him away and kicked him out because they said that the Department of State hadn't approved him yet. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, and I mean, when that explosion went off that killed those Marines, our interpreter, he was there. He tried to say there was a 5-year-old girl that got killed. He was trying to save her. He was on his way to the hospital with her. He's been on Fox News like 3 times now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The dude is a stand-up guy, and we can't get him here because the Department of State is dragging. I've been to 3 congressmen's offices. I've been to senators' offices, and they all say the same thing. The Department of State is dark.
Dude, my other nonprofit, they're trying to get 2 Terps out too,
luck.
it's just like crickets.
Yeah, like the Department of State, like I had one congressional office liaison tell me, like, look, when this whole COVID thing kicked off and we were trying to pull Americans back to the States, you know what I mean, get them out of these countries and things like that, you know, because of COVID back in 2020, they're like, it was constant updates from the Department of State. You know what I mean? You had a question or a concern, you call them, boom, somebody was answering, somebody was responding to emails, all that stuff. They're like, right now, you cannot get anything out of the Department of State, even at the congressional level. These liaisons, they cannot get the Department of State to even respond to an email or pick up the phone or anything. They're black.
But they can Twitter because
Oh,
I
they
just
can tweet.
follow them on Twitter.
They can tweet. Speaking of Twitter, how about how the Taliban has Twitter accounts, but the 45th president of the United States doesn't? How's that for irony? That's crazy. The vice president of Afghanistan had his damn Twitter shut down.
Oh boy!
And
did the president of Afghanistan? He left the country.
Right.
He fled, right?
Yeah, he fled. I think he's in Dubai. And so the vice president was like, "Fuck this," you know what I mean? And he basically got on there and was like, "That makes me the president." Yeah, I mean, per our Constitution, I'm now the caregiver. I think the term is caregiver president.
Yeah.
You know, basically the interim and acting president. And he's in the north, apparently, and he's trying to form an alliance up there to try and push back. And Twitter banned their accounts. Meanwhile, the Taliban's got plenty of Twitter handles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they probably have Facebook. They have LinkedIn. I mean, they probably have everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is absolutely
TikTok.
crazy.
They're
all
definitely
over TikTok.
definitely probably have TikTok.
And meanwhile, China is just sitting over there salivating. You know what I mean?
They're like, ooh.
Right, because Biden's like, oh, you know, listen, we need you to, you know, do this and do that. Otherwise, you know, we might not be able to help you out with any foreign aid. And China's over here like, fuck their foreign aid, dude. Do whatever you got to do. We'll back you up. You know what I mean? Just let us get some of that lithium, dog. Because that's like, Afghanistan's full of lithium and shit. Like, China's not playing, dude. China's not playing. They are 100% invested in seeing us botch this whole thing. And we're doing a fantastic job of fucking it up. I heard
they're the only embassy that didn't evacuate was China. They're like,
imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that. You know, it is a blunder and is a blight on American history. What's going on right now? I mean, if I was another country, I wouldn't come within 100 miles of the U.S. Like, next time y'all fuck up and y'all need some help, like, no, sir. I done seen how you do people who help you. You know what I mean?
The thing now, we have to push forward and we have to take care of our veterans.
Nobody knows what that means, though. I mean, take care of our veterans. We can't even get our own Americans off the ground. There are over 1,000 U.S. citizens and green card holders that are still on the ground in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I know, but
you know,
every generation has dealt with this kind of thing.
Kinda.
I mean, Vietnam. I mean, I was with my father-in-law who had a stroke last week at the hospital, and he and I were crying over the situation of what's going on right now.
So how is it justifiable then that they went through the same thing and people literally drew parallels to this administration and said, this is exactly what you're walking into, and they still blunder it?
Because history repeats itself. This happened probably in Pericles' day, back in
I'm sure it did.
364 BC.
And you start looking at drawing similarities between the empire and American history.
I mean Augustus. I mean Caesar. I mean, you can go all the way back, and all this shit's happening. It's just, it's cyclical.
We like to think, though, that we've progressed to the point where surely to God this was preventable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This was very preventable. And I think that's what's got so much outrage around it, because, you look back at Saigon and things like that, might have been preventable. But things didn't move the way that they move now. Now I have a hard time finding an excuse to make this even remotely okay.
Yeah.
Because there isn't. Yeah. I mean, 13 Marines, 12 Marines lose their life. Thousands of Americans are abandoned. And they're touting it like a victory. And the only person that's being held accountable right now, the only person that's been fired over this whole Afghanistan thing is one of my old platoon commanders.
Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller.
Right. Stu Scheller, great Marine. He was a battalion commander, advanced infantry training school.
He was 1-8.
Yeah. He was
in his career. I read his bio.
He was one of our platoon commanders in 1-8. Yeah.
Okay.
And great Marine, really good guy. And he released a video basically saying, look, I'm a lieutenant. This dude basically took the senior leadership to the tree line and dropped blouses.
Oh, he was in uniform.
He was.
While he said this.
And he basically was like, I will take these lieutenant colonels, this rank right off my collar right now. He's like, I'm probably screwing my career. He's
I'm sorry you got fired, sir.
There's no accountability.
He heard that. He's like, that's it. He's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Who was my old battalion commander.
Dude, he's like, there's no accountability. Nobody's heads are rolling because of this. Nobody's careers are ending. Nobody is being called up in front of the man and saying, how did you fuck this up? And we demand answers. We deserve answers. And that's what he was saying. And yesterday they relieved him of his command for a loss of faith, I think is what they said.
Faith and confidence.
Faith and confidence. That's what it was.
Yeah, we've got I know a couple lieutenant colonels that got that same one.
Well, at least he's not in the boat alone. But as of right now, he's the only one that I've heard of that has lost his job over the shit in Afghanistan. And it's the one guy who's saying that there ought to be accountability. Yeah, because so far there hasn't been any. None.
It's rough. It's a weird situation, and it's weird. I mean, I talked to a Coast Guard guy last night. He called me up, and he's like, "I'm really, really struggling with this." And this guy was in the Coast Guard 20 years ago.
Right.
Never even near Iraq or Afghanistan. Can't even get, he can't get in the VFW because he was in South America doing raids and shit like that.
I think you don't have to have served in combat to find this whole thing appalling.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's very.
I see where he's at.
It's bringing back. It's pissing off a lot of veterans.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, I got like 15 phone calls.
Like you said, there are guys that are literally packing their shit and going over there to do it themselves. That's how pissed veterans are.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks coming up.
Oh, I think that this administration has a big problem when it comes to the veteran community, in that they think that once we get out, we're just done. Yeah, we just disappear or something. We don't.
We are important, and we are worthy, and we don't disappear.
Yeah, we don't disappear. And if you can't get shit done, then that's fine. We'll get shit done. You know what I mean? It's hard to ingrain that inside of dudes' heads for 20 years. You have an entire generation of dudes who fought in these wars. So you ingrain that level of determination in somebody, and you think they're just going to sit back on their haunches while you screw this whole thing up? Probably not. Probably not. The less actionable ones, the ones that are probably a little more laid back, at the very least, you'll have those guys protesting in the streets. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then the ones who are just been waiting for some shit to pop off, they're on planes on their way to Afghanistan. You know what I mean?
Did you happen to read that thing that I posted yesterday? The VFW sent a letter to Rubio.
No, what did
asking for an investigation?
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's on my feed. I sent it.
No kidding.
I sent it to our group page yesterday.
See, that's something else I don't think a lot of people know about the VFW, how much pull they have in Washington.
They get to see the president twice a year.
Right.
I'm going to Washington in the spring.
Yeah.
During a session of Congress.
Well, that's cool.
I just got invited by.
Should totally bring your sergeant at arms.
Yeah, I'm going to try. We're going to go to Arlington because I haven't been up there in like 3 years.
I would like to see Arlington.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 10 buddies from our 26 that died. They're in Arlington right now.
I did all those funeral honors. I've been to a lot of national cemeteries, but I've never been to Arlington.
Dude, speaking of, I'm sorry to segue this, but this is my part of my squirrel. Dude, $160 buys a VFW beret. I'm getting it. You're gonna teach me. You're gonna teach me how to do it right.
You're gonna have some instruction because that is a finicky bitch.
That's okay. You're gonna teach me because I think you gave a little lesson, a period of instruction on.
I probably did.
The Smoke Pit podcast on how to do a beret.
You have to shave it.
You have to shave it.
You got to cut the liner out of it. Then you got to shave it,
and then
you got to soak it in water, and then you got to form it to your grape, and then you got to let it dry while it's on your grape. It's the Army has a penchant for having just terrible hats, dude. They require way too much
patrol
maintenance.
cover. I mean,
that PC. Yeah, you're
slap
supposed
it
to
on your knee.
Because see, when I switched over, I couldn't stand that damn thing, so I would roll it down. Yeah, I mean, I would kind of box it and roll it down to where it didn't look as shitty. And I had some staff NCO get on my ass about it, and I was like, "Oh, you want me to do it the way it is per the reg?" So you pull it out the way that literally says do. You're supposed to take it and slap it on your leg and plop it on your head. And I did that, and it looked like hammered shit. And I was like, "Is that better?" And he's like, "No, just go ahead and go back to doing what you were doing." Like the Army, they have the worst hats, dude. And then you got a bunch of weirdos wearing cowboy hats too.
Oh yeah,
the cavalry guys.
The cavalry guys. And their golden spurs and their silver spurs.
Yeah, so gold ones if you've actually been to combat, silver ones if you hadn't.
Yeah, and then the silver, it's like a cab, right?
No, the silver spurs are like you have to do what they call like a spur ride, which I guess is like their version of the EIB for the infantry, which is the expert infantry badge, which is basically just it's like a round robin of different infantry skills.
Jason Connor, who was sitting right in this seat, he has an EIB. And one of our newest members, actually, she has her spurs. Sydney Baldwin. She just joined our post last month.
No, it's the Cav is a strange beast, dude. It is a weird place. Yeah. I didn't speak Army when I switched over, so I got stuck in an ACR unit. Even though I was an infantryman, I was attached to a Cav unit. And so they'd be like, "You going to wear the Stetson?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to wear the freaking Stetson. Are you going to wear a blue cord?" "No, you're not, because you're not a grunt, right? So I'm not going to wear a Stetson because I'm not a cavalryman, but you can wear it." I don't want to wear it. It's a cowboy hat and it looks dumb. I'm in a military uniform. Why would I want to wear a cowboy hat, man?
I've seen them at balls and stuff like that.
So terrible. It looks awful.
No offense. No offense.
Oh, I don't
it's
care
just two Marines making fun of the Army.
I don't care who I offend. Cavalry. Nasty. Disgusting.
We love you guys, but we can make fun of you, and you make fun of us. It's okay. It's cool.
The cavalry, we're pretty much infantry, but we're more heavily armed. That's what they always say.
I'm sorry. That was Gabriel. That was really fucking funny,
dude. I've got a buddy, Brian Demoff, who I was a contractor with. He's a Cav Scout, and I give him so much shit. I'm constantly sending him memes. It'd be like some dude wearing booty shorts with crossed eyes on one of those little spring horses at a playground. It says Cav Scouts, we're pretty much infantry.
Dude, I've seen those guys wearing their Cav hats at fucking IW hikes.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're wearing their boots.
So it's weird. It's not really the cavalry that's so prideful and shit. It's pretty much the scouts. The scouts are the guys who love that whole thing. And what's weird is that they used to be infantry scouts.
Very prideful.
Well, they used to be infantry scouts. See, they used in the Army, infantry is 11, right? Whereas for us it's 03.
03.
So for the Army it's 11. They used to be 11 deltas.
11 delta. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then in the 90s,
Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta.
Alpha is an infantry officer. Bravo's enlisted. Charlie's a mortarman.
Yep.
They had like 11 Hotel. They had 11 Mike.
Yeah.
But 11 Delta was an infantry scout, and then in the 90s when they condensed everything down, they got booted on over to the cavalry side of the house. So I love
Gabriel's a plethora of knowledge on both Marine Corps and Army situations.
I don't know if I got a plethora of it, but I mean, I like to push the envelope when I was in, so like I had to know regs.
Yeah, and you push the envelope while you're out too. It's interesting how that works.
Well, the difference is that like now nobody can I can't.
You can't get NJP or
right.
Article 15 or whatever the fuck they call it over in there in the Army.
They call it an Article 15 in the Army because
page 11.
No, that's different. That's different. Yeah. See, here's that smoke pit lawyer. A page 11 can be positive or negative. It can be good or bad. Yes.
Wait, it can be positive?
Absolutely. Like,
Really?
did you buy your dress blues jacket off of Paris Island?
No, actually 2 years later.
Okay. Well, if you did, you were supposed to get a positive page 11 in your ERB. You see what I'm saying? So like page 11s can go in there and they can be positive or negative. They're just almost always
I didn't
negative.
know that.
Yeah. So like
Didn't know that.
The hierarchy is going to be like page 11 is bottom line. Well, getting the shit kicked out of you in a tree line is going to be first line.
Yeah, that's hazing.
Right. And that's,
period
hazing
of
is
instruction.
amazing. Right.
Period of instruction, not hazing.
That's wall-to-wall counseling. Right. So then you got verbal counseling. And then you have page 11, which goes into your shit, but it doesn't travel with you. So if you move to a different unit, that page 11 isn't going to follow you. Then you have non-judicial punishment, which will follow you.
That way, yeah, it does.
Right. And then battalion levels where they take rank.
That's where they took my rank.
They never took mine. I got 3 of them. They never took mine.
E2 twice, E3 twice, E4 once.
TFC second award.
Hoorah!
Yeah.
Hey,
so the Army has Article 15, which they don't.
Is that positive, negative? That's negative.
No.
Right?
So Article 15 is, so when you do an NJP, that is an Article 15 is what it is.
We just got to call it different because we're Marines. We have to be different. We have to be
Kind of
different.
like how the Army doesn't pronounce their acronyms. It's real weird.
None.
They'll say, go turn your shit into CIF. I'm like, CIF?
You mean SIF?
And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, make sure you turn that shit into DRMO. It's like, that's Dermo, bro. Like, it's like, what do you... And then you tell them to orientate their weapons outboard, and they look at you like you got a dick growing out of your forehead.
Huh?
You're like, what outboard?
Outboard? What does that
like,
mean?
Like, how do you tell people to point your weapons out? And they're like, point your weapons out. I'm like, oh, I guess
our way
that
sounds
sense.
way cooler.
Orientate your weapons out, I guess.
Hey, Commander, how we looking?
46 minutes, man.
Oh, not bad.
Oh, how long do you guys usually run?
I try to keep it under an hour.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, I'm used to running my suck. Like my podcast runs like
2
hours.
3 hours. Yeah. 3. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Travis McVeigh was.
Travis was 3 hours. Yeah, he was like 3.5. The last guy I had on was pushing 3. I think the last couple ones, like even you were pushing 3 when you were on. 3. Because I'll just get it running my suck. It's a problem.
Well, we just, we just like to talk about random shit. Some good shit, some random shit.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm going to do a shameless plug and tell people to go listen to my podcast too.
No, go ahead. Oh, wait, what podcast is that?
The Smoke Pit Podcast, but it's 2 words, The Smoke Pit. There's some other jackass out there that has the same name, and his is 3 words, The Smoke Pit.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. I get confused when I try to hook you up. I go at, and then the Smoke Pit, and then 3 things come up.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope.
Turns out it's a good name. It's a good name. But yeah, so
by the way, that's when you do for the Scuttlebutt podcast, there are a couple ones that come up.
Yeah,
too.
I've noticed there's like the Scuttlebutt show. There's a couple of different ones, but it's a common term, so that's going to happen.
You can't TM that
right.
Term.
And it turns out like the Army, they don't call it a smoke pit in the Army. They call it a designated smoking area. But that just doesn't have the same ring.
Nope, it doesn't.
Doesn't have the same ring to it, So yeah, the smoke pit. And you can tell ours from theirs because ours is a picture of Marines sitting around on sandbags in a fucking smoke pit, as it should be.
Yeah, and ours are just me and Commander Fleek.
You guys
Commander Fleek as a young sailor, and me during my Purple Heart ceremony. So.
Yeah, you guys don't look anything like your picture.
Not at all. But November 13th, I have to shave my face.
Well, you gonna be wearing blues?
Oh yeah, Marine Corps ball, and then I'm in a sword arch.
See,
which by the way, you have to teach me my sword manual because
dude,
I don't fucking know.
I still know all that crap.
You look at the tip or the. No, you look at the star.
You look, you pull it up and it's right there.
Yeah, we can do a period of instruction in the woods.
I got you.
Late at night.
I got you. We got to work on that funeral honor stuff too for the VFW. If we're going to start,
we definitely need to do funeral honors
because what is it? The Thunder, whatever those guys,
Rolling Thunder.
Those guys are terrible.
No, they
are awful. When I was doing funeral honors, we hated it every time they showed up because for one, there's a lot of misinformation that goes around from them. It's innocent enough. They don't mean it. They just think they know things that they don't. And then the drill is absolutely abhorrent. It's terrible.
Speaking of honor guard, dude, I saw we buried a guy that died December 7th, 1941 on Friday. Fireman first class Paul Ed Sailor, U.S. Navy.
Yeah.
Him and 428 other sailors died when torpedoes hit the USS Oklahoma in 41. They found his body, returned it to Kingsport, Tennessee, where he was buried.
Yeah.
But that Navy Honor Guard was locked on.
That's good. Yeah, the Navy one does pretty good. The Marine Corps one doesn't do bad. The problem is with a lot of these guys is there are details that are temporarily assigned.
These guys, I mean, they were.
Some of them are permanent. Yeah, I mean that's what they do.
Yeah, these guys
you
were
can always
permanent.
tell.
And I was staring at this young sailor's backside in her whites.
Oh, you said her. Good. I was like,
Yeah,
specify.
worried me.
I don't
for a
know what her
second,
name
man.
was, but my eyes kept on going down.
Dude,
I'm sorry,
it's
Katrina.
rough. It's rough. I'll tell you what. I mean,
Had to look.
and they're white pants, so it's hard not to. Which I will say, the Army almost got me to re-enlist with their new pinks and greens. Almost got me.
Yeah, well, you'll see a
Almost
couple
got
at our Marine Corps ball. We
I like the
invite a
pinks and
couple.
greens. It's a good look. They
is a
finally
good
look
look.
military again. You know what I mean? It's not like they got something new. It's not a new uniform. They're just going back to what they used to wear, which looked military. Otherwise, and I tell people, it's the belt, man. You take the belt off and it's just a freaking suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which the Navy, you guys got like 30 different freaking uniforms, dude.
Same as the Marine Corps. We got, what, 15?
No, dude, they're not as bad. Dude, we're not nearly as bad as the Navy.
No.
They
I
have
mean, they've got
so
tons.
many. Like, I remember our corpsman, he met Marine Corps regulations, so he was able to wear a service uniform too. And he had them hanging in his wall locker. And so he had like his service uniform for the Marine Corps. Then he had the one for the Navy, the tan and the black pants. And then he had the blueberries, you know, those little the digital uniform.
Yeah.
Then he had their Navy pat that they had, the woodland pat, and then the desert pat. And then he had these blue dungaree looking things. His whites. I was like, Jesus Christ,
And
man.
then when you get to chief, you have to wear you wear a different jacket, right? When you're a tie and everything.
When you're a chief, then you just get going to khakis.
Okay.
yeah,
You
khakis.
see,
Yeah.
in khakis, that.
Did you see that?
looks
Speaking
good.
of Navy, did you see that they're getting rid of the red chevrons, man?
No.
Oh yeah, they're getting, because they say that hurts people's feelings, and so everybody should have gold chevrons. So I'm like, first of all, fuck you. Like if I see a chief and he's got red,
He's an awesome.
yeah, I mean,
chief.
or a guy who's going to pick up chief and he's got red chevrons. Like I like that guy.
like Chief
Like
Sunday.
if my corpsman
Man
doesn't
of
have
honor.
red chevrons, I'm
That guy.
pissed. You know what I mean? Because I know that guy fucks. You know what I mean? Like that guy does, like, not only has he done some shit, he bounced back from it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he still managed to pick up his rank and push his career. And so like it's supposed to be like a thing that like marks you like a scarlet letter, but it's like a badge of honor, dude. It's a badge of honor, but they're getting rid of it. The Navy's doing away with it because they say that it hurts feelings.
That's
That's
freaking
not
stupid.
mine.
No, that was mine.
I think it's your fault.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
I hate when they change uniforms, first of all, because Navy's supposed to be full of tradition, man. These uniforms
of
go
that.
back hundreds of years, you know. They just added piping on the back of the white.
What?
Yeah.
On the scarf thing that hangs off?
You know how the little flap, the
Yeah,
little
yeah,
cape
yeah.
on the back? They put piping on it. Like,
Ew.
why?
Like gold
That's-
piping or something?
No, it's dark blue. So
I thought that always had that on it.
No,
No?
it's just
no,
simple.
mine were just simple white.
Yeah,
So
simple
the dress blues had a white pipe.
Maybe that's what I'm
but
used
the
to
whites
seeing.
never had it, and they added that. I'm like, that's freaking stupid. Quit
Yeah.
changing shit. They took. They don't have bell bottoms anymore.
What?
Yeah.
What? They're not bell bottoms?
Freaking straight leg, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's bullshit, dude. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I freaking hate change, man.
Dude, well, the Navy was the only branch that could
Wait.
rock bell bottoms and make it
Stop
look
saying
good.
that, Commander. Stop saying that.
No, I mean,
Change to.
I like change sometimes. I hate change when it comes to my Navy uniform.
Okay.
Anything Navy,
Good
I
point.
hate
No,
change.
just making that
You know what
clear.
I'm saying?
because like you said, the Navy, like out of all the branches, I've tried to explain to people, like the Navy is different, man. Like there are certain customs and courtesies in the Navy. Like you don't, like the fucking chiefs, they eat in their own mess hall.
Yep.
They have their own shit.
Chief's mess, yeah.
They have their own berthing. Like
And
you don't
coffee
go
cups.
into their AO. Like you, like it's
The skipper's not even allowed in their area.
Right. And that is crazy. Like the Navy is so strange with all their traditions, but it's so awesome to see. And I enjoyed my time on ship. I really did. Just because of all their traditions and stuff and seeing it happen.
Yeah.
And I remember
I love being on ship.
well,
too.
we went to, we pulled into Italy. We got to go on an Italian ship and see them and their ship and stuff. And that was pretty cool. But then they came on our ship and they were just blown away. And we don't think anything of it, but to them, they all looked Italian because they're all Italians.
Yeah.
And they come on our ship. You got black people, white people, Asian people. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And they're all wearing the same uniform and they're all working together and they're all speaking the same language unless you go into the galley and then it's all Filipino. But it was something that we don't even give second thought to.
No,
I mean, the Navy is super freaking cool when it comes. I mean, it's a floating city.
Yeah.
And all those guys
to
work
watch
together.
Everything worked together. It's
Yeah.
like a well-oiled machine, man.
It is.
it's
like
insane.
sweepers, man your brooms. Holy shit.
General quarters, man overboard.
No, dude, the sweepers, man your brooms always blew my mind. It always made me laugh because it come to find out, like, those are all the dudes that are on restriction. Like the guys that have screwed up. I'm like, sweepers, man your brooms. What is that a thing? And my dad was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Like you have to go and get on your brooms and you get a clean sweep both fore and aft.
And remember to polish that stupid bell, right?
Oh, dude, the guys were polishing brass on the ship. They'd screwed up too. Brass.
As they say, bright work.
That's right, bright work. That's
bright work.
Dude, I used to have nightmares about that damn whistle. That whistle, I used to hear it in my sleep, man.
Boatswain's.
Yeah, dude. I dreamed that I went and found it. And I found the drawer that it was in, and I opened it up, and it was like a never-ending drawer of these whistles. Dude, we used to cut the 1MCs on our berthing area. And I remember sitting.
You wouldn't have to hear.
Right.
Nice.
So we would cut all the 1MCs, and then we would leave one. It was the one in the head, and we'd put a chair under it, and we'd put a boot in the chair. And so anything important that comes over that, it's your job to come and tell us what's going on. And I was sitting down in the chow hall
General
eating,
Order number 6.
and there's these 2 electricians that are sitting there, Navy guys, and you could tell one's a boot and one's a senior guy. And he's like, hey, what do you want to do about the 1MCs and the Marines berthing? They keep cutting it. He's like, don't do shit. We'll fix them, and they'll just cut them again. Yeah, because we will, because we're dumb. You know what I mean? It's like, important shit comes over that thing, but we're like, no, fuck that. That's right by my rack, and you just cut the wires on it. And it was crazy to hear that you guys did the same thing we used to do, which was they would tell us that you couldn't be in the rack between 06 and 2200.
Yeah.
Everybody else on the ship has a job. Like everybody has a purpose except for the grunts on the ship. Like we have no job.
In the berthing. We don't have a job.
So we're in our racks, and they're like, you can't be in the racks between 06 and 22. So some genius figured out that if you crack a chem light and toss it over the side,
I did it like 5 times.
They will call general quarters, which to everybody else means something, but to us that means get in the rack for accountability.
Go back to fucking sleep.
Right. So that's guaranteed 3 hours in the rack.
Nice.
Like I did not know that caused such mayhem for the rest of the people on that ship. Dude.
And we are sorry, Navy guys.
I'm not sorry for shit.
I apologize for my behavior.
I don't. Y'all would have done it too if it meant you got to sleep in the rack.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, that, and what's that like the just to go on and off the ship? Like there's a protocol for all that.
You gotta salute the flag and then salute the flag. Yeah,
we had a guy. We were coming back on ship, and he was so drunk that he said the ditty out loud to the officer of the day. He's like, salute the flag, and then the flag, and he's like, get him the fuck off my quarterdeck right now before I destroy all of you. I'm like, holy sir, I'm getting him. We're gonna get him out of here.
Aye, sir.
It was bad, man.
Yeah, you have to ask permission.
Yeah,
permission to come aboard.
or to even get off too.
Or to get off,
Permission
to go ashore. Yeah, it's all
you go halfway down the brow. You stop, face the flag. Salute
that's
it, and then
what
you turn
it
around,
is.
You go. Yeah,
that's right. Man, it's a good time, man. I'll tell you what's not a good time. That's being drunk and falling on non-skid.
Yeah,
that sucks. That hurts a lot.
Or doing any kind of calisthenics
Did you guys ever have to go on a hump on ship?
Yeah, around the
flight deck. Yeah, the never-ending hump.
It was the dumbest thing in the world. Dumbest thing ever.
And that thing like absorbs all impact, so you have no bounce back when you're trying to ruck. It was bad, dude.
We were doing fast roping.
Oh yeah,
onto the deck.
Oh yeah, we fast roped on there a lot.
That fucking hurts your
knees.
Yeah, that's more disability from the VA. Thank you very much.
Right out of one of those, as we were fast roping down, and he was coming down Bickhart, which Bickhart was always a little slow, so we're not sure how much damage occurred because it's hard to gauge. But he was on the rope to come down, and it was pretty rough seas, and so as he was coming down, the ship fucking came down, the helo went up, and the rope popped.
Yep.
And when it did, it yanked it out of his hands. He just right onto the deck of the ship.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Oh, he was out. He was unconscious, and we were like, "Oh shit, Big Heart just died."
It's like Blackburn from Black Hawk
Down, right? And he lived, but the dude always looks high as a kite. Yeah, I mean, so we're not sure if it was from falling or if he's just always kind of been that way. So, but yeah, I won't eat up any more of you guys' time, dude. I'll run my mouth all day.
That's all good.
It's a good
time.
I
gotta get going because Brian's gonna kill me if I don't get into Knoxville at least by 3:30. But the concert's at like 1900, so. But I do need to sell these tickets. So, Commander, do you want to send us off, sir?
Yeah, man. So,
Gabriel, thank you so much for coming, man. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. It's interesting being in the hot seat instead of being the one talking to other people, dude. It's weird. Now I know how you feel, dude. Now I know how you felt,
dude. I'm getting used to this. I'm getting used to it.
It's a good time, man.
It's a good time.
I like your shirt, by the way.
Yeah, my shirt is Mattis in Space Force, by the way. I know there are some people that still like Mattis, and then there are some people that do not like Mattis.
He's been oddly silent during all of this.
He has been. Mad Dog. Where are you, Mad Dog?
I hear he hates being called Mad Dog, too.
I'm sorry, Mad Dog. I apologize for that.
Maybe Chaos. He liked that better or something.
Real quick, with the last, before we go,
sure.
What do you think happens in 2 years when the re-election comes around?
I think Americans have short-term memory loss.
DeSantis, 2024.
I think people have short-term memory loss, and I think that, unfortunately,
we're stuck with this asshole for 4 more years.
I don't know that I don't think he'll make it that long on a level upstairs. Right. But I do think that it's very possible that you see a Kamala Harris takeover. So I think that unless something else happens that keeps this sort of thing in the forefront, like if there's a shift in the midterms where we have some people switching chairs to where we can keep these things to the forefront, be like, hey, listen, this is bullshit and it's still bullshit. Yeah. Outside of that, I think we're kind of stuck. Unfortunately, especially if they allow these mail-in ballots to stay.
Yeah, right.
I think that's a nail in the coffin of anything other than the Democratic Party being in office. Unfortunately,
yeah, I think it's years before we see a red president.
A red president or a green president. I'd take a green one at this point.
I'm just DeSantis 2024.
Dude, on my last episode, we pitched the idea of a Dan Crenshaw, Tulsi Gabbard ticket.
Ooh,
yeah.
Oh, by the way, there are like 6 Navy SEALs running for Congress.
Really?
If you watch Act of Valor, the guy who was interrogating Christo, he's running.
No shit.
Van Patten, I think is his last name.
We gotta get some Marines.
Dan Crenshaw, Marcus Luttrell's brothers is running, and then there's like 3 other guys.
Yeah, we can't have a bunch of SEALs in there. Those guys are prima donnas as fuck. It's gonna be.
Andrew Paul, we're not talking about.
We're gonna have a bunch of dudes in there and be like, "Listen, we got to look at the budget, and then we got to look at hair care products. So you got to make sure that hair's on
we're
point.
sorry, Andrew. Sorry to hear that. Sorry, Jocko.
And also, they're gonna be in Congress with their shirts off all the fucking time because SEALs just walk around with their shirts off for no fucking reason.
And yelling and screaming at everybody.
They don't yell at anybody. They just talk, but they have their shirt off all the time for no reason.
Maybe we can get Richard Marchenko back, and he can be president. How about that?
I don't know.
Founder of SEAL Team 6 or Dev Group or whatever it's called.
You, Dan Crenshaw is a Republican. Tulsi Gabbard, she's a Democrat.
Yeah.
Put those 2 on the same ticket, and I would vote for it.
Okay.
Not because Tulsi is anything. I disagree with a lot of her policy, but she's very reasonable and logical. And I think that if you had a ticket like that shows that they're trying to bring people together and pass an olive branch back and forth, I think that a lot of Americans would get on board with that. So
I
the way it's working right now,
disagree.
It's not working, man, because you have literally the right and the left. They just fight. You can't get anything done in Congress.
It could be a great idea. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I hate when the president. I don't care what side you're on. When the president's talking, and they got Congress when he's in the only. His side will stand up and clap. The other side just sits down. I freaking hate that, man. This is still America, man.
Right.
Get your ass off that chair and clap your freaking goddamn president.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing.
No matter which president it is.
Right. You have to respect the office. You don't have to respect the man, but you respect the fucking office.
And we, as veterans, we have to respect the office. And we don't have to.
Plus, Dan Crenshaw's president with an eye patch. That's bad.
That would be pretty sweet.
He's going to be the pirate.
An eye patch and a beard. Hell yeah, dude.
And no shirt.
No freaking shirt. Because he's a SEAL. And why not?
Well, thanks, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a good time, fellas.
Thank you, Commander. I'll see you soon, sir.
All right, man.